Place.
Hello, everybody out there. We are back with another one of our fabulous facilitators. We are rounding out our interviews as we are just a week away from launching the second annual Future of Strengths Forum. And I am super excited to have Shauna with us today. But I am going to let you, Shauna, take it away and tell us a little bit more about who you are, where you are, and what you are doing in the world.
Yes, yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Shauna T. Sobers, and in addition to being a Clifton Strengths coach, I also, let's see, I'm a resilience researcher. I'm a salsa and bachata instructor, and my day job is working at the University of Texas at Austin within athletics. So that's a little bit about me.
I love it because you did something really interesting with salsa. Didn't you do like a TED talk or something with
I did
dance?
a TED Talk. Yes, it's called Dance of Leadership. And I talked about how Latin partner dance is really giving us the tenets of what we need in leadership and followership.
Yes,
Yes,
so
and I'm
people need to
currently
go out
working on
there.
a second TED Talk. So I'm putting in that application now soon to do a
Oh,
follow.
you and me both. I'm working on the second one too. This one
Hey.
would be in English though. The first one was in Spanish.
Ah,
Um,
very cool, very cool. And I also recently authored my first full book. I've been in two books as a co-author, as a contributing a chapter, but this one is about my resilience research for how to let's see, how to gain that resilience that you need, especially in workplaces where you might be struggling or it might be toxic or it might not have been designed for you. So when you might be struggling in a workplace, how do you build that resilience using the model of a tree to do so? So my harmony really comes into play with a lot of these things, seeing the common ground between things that other people won't.
well, that is a perfect seg to let the people know a little bit more about what you're going to be offering at the forum. Give us a little teaser.
Yes, actually, I'm doing that intersection of strengths and positive psychology, really, and my research and going through that resilience tree. It has four components. It's roots, branches, fruit, and environment. But then talking about how I got into this research with positive psychology, essentially looking at what was right with my research participants, which were Black women deans of students or vice presidents, so essentially executive leaders, and what instead of looking at the deficit model. And so,
Mm-hmm.
really being able to have the participants look and do some reflection for themselves of what they might be going through in their workplace, what might be changing, what might be, how do they adjust to ambiguity, things like that. And then looking to see which components of the resilience tree they're in and which of their talents, how they can use their talents to be able to manage those types of situations. So really looking at that intersection between how do we use strengths and our knowledge of strengths of what type of environments might work best for us to thrive in based on our
Mm-hmm.
strengths, and how do we use this model that I've created to build resilience in the workplace, that intersection.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot because
Oh,
I'm curious.
okay, okay.
If in all your research, especially relating it back to strengths, do you find that there are any particular strengths that are
Mm,
more common as something that helps us with resilience? I mean, I
mm.
think every strength can find a certain aspect of resilience, so I don't think there's any talent that can't, but I'm wondering if there's a common thread of like two or three talents that are more common as far as people that feel more resilient, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I did do some research and I've like paired up some talents with each of the components, which may be um, leaning towards where you're going, but I wouldn't be able to like name you like one or two that's like these are the
Yeah.
most resilient because to your point, like I'm constantly looking at how every single one of them can contribute in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So there isn't, even though I do enjoy giving my clients um, the periodic table of Clifton strengths of like frequency and things like that. I don't have that yet for a resilience take on things. So good
I was just
question
kind
though.
of
I like
curious.
it. Yeah, it's like I like it and I'll have that at my workshop. So how's that?
I think that's great. I just, having had several conversations around grief and resilience and different things like that, and it potentially has to do with my own makeup of talents and my perception of
Mhm.
where that comes from. So I was just kind of curious, since you'd done some actual research versus me just hypothesizing
Mhm.
based on my experience. Um, so excellent. Okay, so my final question for you is one
Yes.
that is around the concept of the future of strengths. And I need you to pick a number 1 through 5. And whatever number you pick, I will give you a question.
Let's go 4.
Ooh.
Let's
So,
go
how does knowing your strengths today
4.
help you make decisions for the future you want to live in?
Ooh. Well, what comes to mind when you answer that? How do we wait, what? Ask that one more time.
Yeah, sure. How does knowing your strengths today
Okay.
help you make decisions for the future that you want to live in?
Yeah. So what came to mind when I first heard that was essentially the more I know about my strengths and especially, what's the genius, and what's the shadow side, what it looks like raw versus mature, and how it can be perceived by others, then I think that helps me when something comes up, when someone responds in a certain way to my talents, or I'm in a situation where I'm overusing my talents. Like that awareness that I'm building right now helps me to like more calmly um, kind of navigate those particular situations. So if someone is maybe assuming that, um, I have a click because I have relator in my top 10. Then, oh, like you only like certain people. Then I can be more calm to receive that because I know that that's in my like talent lineup. And I can recognize that, hey, that might have been a shadow side for me. That might have been a blind spot for me because I have this talent. So it's not that so then I wouldn't come at it from a defense place of like, no, I'm not. Like,
Right,
you say that, blah, blah. But now I can come at it of like, I understand where that's coming from. And now I can maybe use that, my knowledge of relator to unpack it or use a partner with my talent of relator to help me manage it a little bit better. Or preemptively, if I know I'm coming
right,
into a situation and it's going to be harder for me, just sticking with relator again, it's going to be harder for me to build those relationships. Then I can intentionally, and this is what I do in my workplaces, for each of the new people coming in, I know I need to schedule my one-on-one with you because I'm going to do better in the one-on-one than if it's the whole group and now I have to like manage that social network.
right.
So all that to say, like my knowledge of the more I know and can understand the characteristics that could come up for me, not necessarily that it's now, and I try to explain to people that it's not prescriptive, it's not telling you this is like how you can be because it's a talent, cluster theme.
Hmm.
So there's things that won't be you, there's you throw those away, but don't throw everything away. So that when something comes up, and I'm reflecting on, where might this be coming from? What might be informing or influencing this experience? Then I can use that knowledge to either understand, adjust, be more compassionate for myself or others, and have some appreciation for where it may be coming from so that I can
Hmm.
do a better, reflection and adjustment. And I think that comes from a place of like Jahari window or receiving feedback as a gift rather than as a criticism or as a, oh, well, I'm just, the extreme. I'm just the worst ever because I didn't do this. It's like, okay, I'm understanding where this is coming from. I'm understanding how you got there. You may have gotten there. And so now I'm having some tools to figure out how do I adjust and pivot in that particular moment.
I
Does that make
really appreciate, yeah, no, I really appreciate that answer. And I say that because when I think of strengths as a language, I'm often saying, like, man, Shauna, you seem really hard to get to know. You're always hanging out with the same people. I don't know how to get to you. And
sense?
if we don't have that shared language, right, then it feels like an attack.
Right.
What I don't necessarily think I've ever voiced out loud or maybe even considered to some point is say relator, but maybe the other person doesn't have any idea
Exactly.
about strengths, right? Like the ability for you to hear something, hear a criticism, hear a feedback like that that feels like an attack and go, okay, they probably don't have relator. I know where that's coming from. I get that that could be a shadow side. Did I do that? Was I doing that? Is it potential that that was a really easy perception to draw? Like the ability to
Yeah.
have that self awareness piece to not take something so personally versus the onus, which I think is how I've always presented it, the onus being on the person coming at you to say, like, hey, Shauna, I know you have relator,
Right.
and I feel like you've really closed yourself off to some new opportunities or new people. Like, and you go,
Yeah.
oh man,
How
babe, you're
likely
my
is that?
relator. Like, right, like you hear it differently because the person is recognizing where the need comes from. But if we
Right.
don't all have that language, but you do,
Right.
having that ability to pause, reflect, and say, okay, they don't understand relator. I get where that's coming from. Let me see how I reframe that or have this conversation more effectively without taking the attack on. Right. And I don't think I've ever really expressed that side of it or thought of it from that perspective. So I really appreciate you drawing that attention.
Receiving a feedback and being able to put it into a strengths-based lens so
Yeah.
that then when you respond back, you're again responding from a strengths-based place to be
Yeah.
like, okay, I see where you came from, or I see how I might have done that. And I didn't even recognize it, right? Because we know that it happens so naturally that we don't, know how to pinpoint it sometimes without someone spotting it for us. And so thank you so much. Like, I hadn't seen it from that way or thought of it from that way. This is, where it may be coming from. These are ways that I could adjust or ways that
Yep.
we could
Yep.
partner or, so thinking about going back to the Soar with Your Strengths book that talks about, hey, when you recognize a weakness, there's three ways to address it. You can either eliminate it, which we don't always have as a possibility. You can delegate it or partner with someone,
Mm-hmm.
or you can, now I just totally lost the third one. Eliminate, delegate, innovate, like create a system or a process
Mm-hmm.
that you can use to help yourself with that. So a lot of times for me, I'll like couple something together. So it's like, oh,
Right.
when I go to do this, then I'm going to remember to do this because I wouldn't naturally remember it. And now that's going to help me to, um, adjust or come out of maybe the weakness of that. Um,
Yeah. Like I know my strategic, my arranger, my futuristic desperately needs a plan.
mhm.
Right. So I have to have a plan. And when I don't have a plan, I get really anxious. I
Right.
get really frustrated very easily. I feel lost. I feel like I'm out of control. And
Yes.
it's never productive, right? When those three are struggling to figure something out. And so, it's happened twice. I can remember during the pandemic and then last year when I was like, I don't know where I want to live. I don't know what's happening with my life. I don't know what I want to do. Like those three got locked in the trunk,
Yeah.
and connectedness and adaptability were the only two who were allowed to drive and co-pilot. Like they were the
Yeah.
only ones who
Sometimes
were allowed because
I
I
have to
was
put
like,
them on
you are
timeout.
not serving me in this space right now. Like with my work, you're fine, but my personal life, you are not contributing in a pretty way. So you get to go away. You don't get a voice right now. And
Mhm.
connectedness and adaptability said, be in the present moment, follow the breadcrumbs, see where this
Yeah.
leads you, be open to the possibility. And then once the destination became clear, I got to take those three back out of the trunk and start the plan again.
Yes, perfect.
Right.
I think what you're talking about there too is like recognizing the clues of when you're starting to go into the shadow side. And so if we're not that self-aware now, then when it happens, then we can't adjust quick enough or with a strengths-based lens to be able to help ourselves in that moment. So that's so great that you're like, oh, I'm starting to do these things. This is where it's coming from. Not, and I'm starting to do these things, self-talk negative, right? So it's like
Right.
it's like, thank you for protecting me. Thank you for, coming in to help guide me. And you're on a timeout right now. I'm going to use these other ones. And so it's
Yeah.
like, how can you honor, appreciate, be grateful for those talents, and at the same time, tell them, I need you to take a back seat.
Yes, you get a hall pass right now. You can come back in a minute. But at the moment,
Yes,
not
you're on a
valuable.
break. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons why I had to name my achiever. So that then I can, because a lot of times, I mean, we talk about this in strengths, when you name something, then you're more able to strategize what you need to do with it, right? So, like, achiever wasn't just a working for me. So, Alexandra got a name. And so, when I recognize the clues of I'm spinning and I'm doing too many things, I'm staying up all night working because my brain's going, then I can say, okay, this is Alex. Alex, we're gonna take a pause and like so that I'm putting you in a timeout, like I'm recognizing that you're there doing the things that I naturally do. How can we move forward with one of my other talents? And
Yeah.
that's, I mean, easier said than done, right? But
Easier
it's
said than done, and
helpful
it
when
takes
you can
practice, but being able to name
practice,
it, being able
name
to
it.
recognize what it's doing, how it's impacting you, and
Yes.
being able to shift, right? Which is one of the things I love, with one of the exercises I do, which is a theme dynamics exercise. And the thing that we do, we're getting like so down this rabbit hole, we'll have to like go to the forum. But the, is to name a noun for your talent and then use your other talents to name adjectives to describe it. And when you do that in a
Hmm.
role space, right? Like, so professionally, for instance, my strategic shows up as a map maker. And with my activator, I'm like results oriented, I'm action oriented, I'm perceptive, I am, what's my other one? Perceptive and collaborative, I think. But like, that's my communication, my maximizer, my activator, and my ideation, all impacting my strategic. With my
Yeah.
son,
Mm.
I'm an explorer. My
Okay.
strategic is no longer a map maker. Now I'm an explorer. And
Mm.
now my other talents take on slightly different roles so that I know how to shift them. And so, like, that exercise is really good because I've worked with
That's
people
cool.
before where you put different roles and you put your strengths in that role and you go, how does this show up? And you can't change the talent, but
Right.
maybe you can pick different nouns and adjectives so you aim it differently,
Right.
right? It brings that self-awareness of like,
It's on
oh,
different
that is
hats.
not the prettiest way for that to show up in that space, or it's okay that it shows up that way in that space, right? And
Yeah.
recognize it, because the talent won't go away, but it can shift in how it shows up
Mhm.
or the
And
role it plays.
as you're describing that, because I just recently bought the those strengths cards, the
Mm-hmm.
from the strengths.
Yeah, calls cards, those are awesome.
Mhm. I was like, I don't have the cards, but I had the post-it note. But that's what's making me think about, ooh, that could be a nice use for that too, as if you're tactile learner or visual, for you
Mm-hmm.
to be able to like put it next. Okay, well, when it's in this setting, what might that look like, sound like? I really like that. That's cool. But I think that all goes to what is
Mm-hmm.
the future of strengths, because that's what everyone they take the assessment and then they think, cool, I'm done, I took it. And it's like the future is, how do we practically, like use it on a daily basis? How do we continue to um, understand it so that it's a tool for us and it's useful? It's not just something that we're lugging around and having to deal with, but how do we have it be useful for us in all of these different settings? And certainly my session is specific to how to be resilient in different places that may be difficult for you. And so it's like, how do we use these things in all of these different settings to be able to adjust and be our best self and to thrive in different settings where we normally wouldn't have been able to.
Right, right.
Was that helpful? Did I bring it back?
Yes, that was awesome. Thank you so very much. Well, with that lovely deep dive that we went into on this conversation, because it was, I couldn't help myself. Thank you
I
so much for your
ideation loves you.
time.
Oh, actually, I realized that I didn't say my top five.
Oh,
So I achiever, learner, harmony, significance, intellection, with an input in there, tacked on as number six.
nice.
Yes.
I love it. Well, I hope you guys are excited to come and learn from Shauna, that you're going to join us for some really amazing conversations, panels, and speakers. It is still, you still are welcome to register and join us. It is a virtual session, so we don't have to worry about seating. We don't have to worry about whether we have space for you. We have space. just come and join us. And I think everybody that gets there, even though it's online, I know we're fatigued a little bit with being online, but I promise you this feels like a warm and welcoming space that truly feels like you're sitting in a lobby with your friends. So I do hope you will come and join us. Thank you so much for your time, Shauna. I appreciate it. And we will see you in about a week.
Yes, come on, engage with us.